Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to Automotive JT. Out here cruising around in the Jeep Gladiator, and I got to thinking, at what point is a vehicle too expensive, like the Jeep Gladiator, to truly use it as its build, as an off-road vehicle? There's a lot of off-road vehicles out there, new, used, high-end, lower-end. But in the end, the Jeep Gladiator starts to get pretty expensive. I've seen price tags as high as mid-60s to low $70,000 for a Jeep Gladiator. Now, it's billed as an off-road vehicle, right? I mean, it's definitely off-road worthy, off-road capable. Of course, it's four-wheel drive. I don't know that you can get a Jeep Gladiator two-wheel drive. Remember the days, and I'm not sure if they still exist, but you could buy a two-wheel drive Jeep Wrangler. Didn't make a lot of sense to me for a Jeep. It does in other vehicles, but not for a Jeep. But I suppose, just like buying a two-wheel drive Tacoma, for example, if you're never going to take it off-road, then why would you spend the extra money and have the extra maintenance and wait for something that you're never going to use? So I guess maybe it does make sense, and maybe it is a little surprising that Jeep is not offering the Gladiator in a two-wheel drive format. Maybe that's something that they'll do. With the Gladiator, they kind of have to find things to add or take away, I guess, as the brand ages. There's not really a lot you can do with the Jeep Gladiator, I don't think. I mean, you can add some extra technology bits and things, but are you really going to do a ground-up redesign of something as iconic as the Jeep? I mean, they've tried that before with the Wrangler, right? And it was a fail. Do you remember when they put the square headlights on the front? People were not happy about that because, you see, the Jeep's heritage really called for those round headlights, something as simple as that. So there's not a lot of things you could do. Maybe they will offer a two-wheel drive going forward. I bet you they do, and they'll call it like a pre-runner Gladiator or something, like with the Tacoma. Who knows? But anyway, back to the main topic. Does it get to a point where the Gladiator is too expensive and it's no longer a viable option to take it off-road? And I'm not talking about driving, fire roads or gravel roads or even well-packed dirt trails. I'm talking about the die-hard off-roading community out there. The people who go into areas that maybe there aren't roads. You're out there plowing through the brush, not the trees, but the brush and all that kinds of stuff, leaving scratches and streaks down the side of your brand new truck. I saw a post, I think it was, I don't know, somewhere, Facebook, Instagram, whatever, but somebody who seemed to be happy, satisfied that they now had scratches down the side of their brand new truck because they took it off-road. It's now broken in. And I thought, that particular truck was somewhere in the $45,000 to $50,000 range. And I just thought that would make me cringe. If I just bought a new truck and then came home with scratches all down the sides of it in the paint, I wouldn't feel good about that. Maybe that's because I'm not a big-time, die-hard, hardcore off-roader, I don't have problems going off-road. I mean, it's fun. I've done it in the past. I haven't done it in recent years, honestly, but I have done it before. And there's nothing like going on the trails and stuff, or even fields and things like that, bouncing around and, spinning the tires in four-wheel drive. I mean, that's kind of fun to do, but not to the point that you're going to destroy your vehicle. It reminds me of the case. I believe there was a lawsuit a couple, 3 years ago, somebody who submerged their Jeep Gladiator in a mud hole. The mud and water was up past the doors. I mean, could you imagine? That would drive me insane. And by the way, that lawsuit came about because there was some sort of issue, I don't recall what it was, with the Gladiator, and they were trying to get the manufacturer, the dealership, to cover it. And it's like, come on, man, it's not a submarine. You couldn't drive it into the ocean willingly and then expect the manufacturer to cover it. I believe it even states in the manual that you're not supposed to submerge it past somewhere in the wheel well area, because then you start to get into the alternator. Obviously, you're going to submerge the exhaust. you'd have to have some kind of a snorkel on it or something, or you'd have a problem anyway, right? Just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. But for me to have a vehicle that costs the kind of money that the Jeep Gladiator costs, I'm talking about the mid to higher levels in trim, just doesn't make a lot of sense. Not something that I would do. So what is the level? And I'm talking about me personally. What would I have that I would deem okay or appropriate to take off-road and just beat the hell out of it in a four-wheel drive? And there's a couple of things, I think. One, I would probably never do that with any new vehicle. It doesn't really matter what the cost is. It would drive me nuts if I had a brand new vehicle, took it out into some harsh terrain or environment and damaged it. That would be horrendous for me. Not something that I would want to do. Wouldn't want to scratch the paint or damage anything else. But used is a different story. I think if you can put your hands on a probably high mileage, moderately decent shape, moderately priced four-wheel drive Jeep Gladiator, which we should start to be getting to that point. They've been out now. I imagine the 4th model year is coming out soon. So there's got to be some out there that don't cost an arm and a leg that you could actually take off-road in a more severe environment and not have to feel bad about doing it. Now, I know there are those, like the guy I mentioned, that was happy or proud of the scratches down the side of his truck. Or maybe he was just trying to make himself feel better, looking for support from people out there who would say, yeah, that's great. I don't know. But I know there's people out there like that that would not have a problem taking something new, but it would just drive me insane. You know, another quick little story. Years ago, a friend of mine borrowed, I think it was his boss's, I'm not sure, a Chevy Blazer. Nice red, brand new. I mean, I don't know why this guy let him borrow it. The guy might have had a screw loose. I would never give a teenage kid anything brand new. But he came over and picked up a couple of us, and we took it down, just an old railroad track. They'd removed the tracks, but there were still the stones and stuff, and it started to overgrow from the sides. And he put scratches down the side of that truck. I could not believe it. I never did hear what happened as far as what his boss or buddy, whoever it was that let him borrow that, what they did or what happened. I would imagine he was probably in big trouble. Who knows? But just not something I would ever do. Anyway, leave a comment. Let me know. Given the pricing of the Jeep Gladiator these days, is the price too high that you can't justify taking it off-road and beating the crap out of it? Or would you do it anyway? I'd be curious to know. Also, real quick, I do have 2 additional channels. Rob Motive, all about the Toyota Tacoma, and Mod Driven, all about the Honda Civic. Check them out, and if you're interested, why not subscribe? And while you're at it, smash the subscribe button here too. Thanks for watching. Stay safe out there. Bye.